Hi everyone, welcome to another Broken Meeple review, and today I've got you a 3-for-1 special. Yeah, sorry about the little plaster, I had a bit of a knife accident earlier, so I'm leaving that to heal up, so you might notice the little addition on my finger there. But today I've got 3 relatively new party games to throw at you, and there was not a lot I could say about each one, so it didn't seem fair to do like one video for each one. So instead I'm just going to throw all 3 of them into this one video. These 3 games are made by a company called Playtime PR, and they were sent to me completely out of the blue. I wasn't really expecting them. So I've given them a try with some friends of mine who, like me, are into party games, and I just wanted to give you my thoughts on all 3 of them. So first up, we have a game called, let's try this one first actually, Flummoxed. This one is regarded as the game Foreign Language Bluffers game, and the idea with this one is it effectively takes the written definition phase out of absolute balderdash. So if you know that game, think of when you had to give a word a definition and then simply, everybody comes up with a definition and you try to guess which one's the real one. That's essentially the exact same thing that this is, except rather than just being given a word definition, you're given a word in a foreign language. And these languages range from anything from the expected stuff of, dialects of English and French, German, Spanish, Polish, etc. But then you get some weird and wonderful stuff, like stuff from Papua New Guinea, the deepest regions of Africa, Australian outback languages that no one's ever heard of, lots of Asian languages, obviously Chinese and Japanese feature in here. There are all sorts of languages which I've never heard of here. And the cards give you a description of each one. So you almost get a bit of a lesson in that language. It also tells you how, phonetically, you should say each word. So yeah, of course, you might get some word in a foreign language, you've got no idea how to pronounce it, but it gives you a guide as to how you should do it, as well as a narrative background on each language that you come across. So you get to have not only a bit of a lesson in world languages, but you also have a better idea of how I'm going to actually say this word. Now, aside from that, it is essentially that phase of balderdash. You continuously play with somebody submitting the real answer, everybody coming up with their own. You get points for getting it right, you get points for people guessing your answer. So with this one, if you enjoy how balderdash works, you'll get a kick out of this one. Because not only is it a bit different from typical English language one, you get to teach your kids and people that you know about foreign languages, you get to learn a little bit more about the world. And that phase in balderdash, balderdash in general is a fun party game and I enjoy playing it. Granted, the word definition round isn't my favourite of the lot, but, this one condenses that into its own little game. So, take it for what you will, I think it's okay. It's not like a laugh out loud moment, although you do get to put in some hilarious answers at times. But certainly, if you've got an interest in languages at all, this is a quick little party game that may be worth picking up further down the line. Next up, we have probably my weak link of the 3, and that is Ex Libris. I think that's how you pronounce it anyway. Ex Libris, I was actually looking forward to trying the most out of this because of its concept. Basically, what happens is that it gives you a narrative from a story. It gives you the title, gives you the author, gives you a description of what the book is about. And similar to Flummoxed, you're basically, the reader submits the correct answer, but you have to come up with the first, paragraph or the last paragraph of the book. Now, obviously, you're not going to get it, you're not trying to get the right answer from your guess. You're trying to select from a group of answers which one you think is correct. But you have to submit your own paragraph based on what knowledge you have about the book. So it's like, somebody might give you a book called, Weeping Donkey, I don't know. And, it'll give you a narrative saying this is about a donkey that comes to life and, that, feels human emotion and cries and stuff. I don't know, that was a weird analogy. But you get what I'm saying. It gives you the story, it gives you a bit of context, and then you're trying to come up with this, description for it. Now, this one, I'm okay with it. I think book lovers might get a kick out of it, if you're really into reading books. For me, though, my biggest problem with this is that I was hoping this would be quite a laugh-out-loud style game, and it really isn't. Because the stories that you get aren't funny stories, they're pretty serious paragraphs. So this is more about testing your creativity and, that sort of thing, rather than actually trying to make a joke opening, like you're reading something like 50 Shades of Grey or whatever. So maybe this could work better as a teaching tool to, in English classes, to get your kids, get the youth group or whatever to, understand a bit more about, writing stories and understanding, the different styles of authors and that. So I reckon this could be a good educational tool, but I don't think it quite meets the mark of a, home family party game. So maybe one for the classroom rather than your gaming group. And then finally we have, in a pretty nice wooden box here, Things, the game of things. Now again, this is, one thing I am noticing with these, they are kind of taking on aspects of other party games we've already seen, and that is a bit of a negative here. I want something a bit more original. But the game of things is a bit like those games like Apples to Apples and Cards Against Humanity, although not anywhere near as nasty as Cards Against Humanity, although it depends on the players, I guess. In the game of things, it will give you a card, and I'll just read some examples off the back here. Things firefighters do between fires. Things you wish grew on trees. Things you shouldn't tie to the roof of your car. There's some quite obscure topics here. And the idea is similar to the Apples and Apples one. Again, people submit their own responses and the reader submits the correct one. The slight twist in this one, though, is that you're not trying to guess the correct answer. You're trying to pick a response and guess which player around the table, reader included, actually came up with that response. If you're correct, they're out of the round. If you're wrong, the ability to guess passes on and it carries on until there's only one person left. That I thought was quite a neat little twist, because normally it's about, we got to guess the right answer. This one's more about understanding the people around the table. So you're trying to see their response and go, well, that is a weird, that is so you, Jim. That is you, that has gotta be you. That response about, do not tie a cat to the roof of your car is you, Jim. And this can lead to a lot more laughs. Probably more so actually than that Flummoxed one. So, if I was going to pick between the two of these for laughs, probably this one. Because you can come up with all sorts of stupid answers, and of course you're trying to identify it by person rather than the correct answer. The correct answer is just like, oh wait, which one do I think the reader has submitted? Which, fair enough, you do in most of these other party games. But the fact that you've got to guess the other players, I quite like. Because normally you're trying to avoid guessing the other players. Or like, you'll vote on a particular one knowing that it's not your own. A bit like how Apples to Apples normally works. So this was a nice little twist to say that no, you're not necessarily guessing the reader's answer, you're guessing anybody's answer. So it's particularly good when I've played this with, like spouses. Not my spouse, but, like husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, who think they know each other really well. And then you try and guess each other's answer and then watch them either do pretty well at it or completely go off on tangents. This was probably my pick of the three in terms of an actual party game. This one can lead to a good amount of laughs. Granted, not on par with the levels of, say, Time's Up, Telestrations, and, well, I suppose Apples to Apples normally, really. But this is a nice little twist and definitely, comes in a nice wooden box. All three of these games come with a decent quantity of pad paper. You might have to submit your own pencils, though. So I think this one might come with a pencil, but I don't think the others did. But you get plenty of cards. There's a good amount of variety. These aren't games you're going to play like, let's get them all out here, actually. These won't be ones that you'll play like twice a day, continuously for ages. They're just a nice alternative set of games that you might consider for your household or for a party situation. I don't think they quite measure up to what we're used to, though, like Time's Up, Telestrations, like I just said. I think they are going to be probably fly under the radar for most people, but I will say, Flummoxed is good if you are into foreign languages and want to learn a bit more about certain words or just certain, other languages, particularly ones you've never heard of. This can be good for that. Particularly, like I said, a classroom setting. This could work very well if you're just doing a, foreign languages class as opposed to one in particular. Ex Libris is probably my weak link of the three. I didn't particularly enjoy this one. I thought, you spend ages writing the paragraphs, waiting for people to finish. And then it's just very serious answers. You can't really put like funny answers in there because then the one that is the correct answer sticks out like a sore thumb. This is much better as a classroom setting, teaching English students. So certainly one I recommend for teachers, but not particularly for the household in my opinion. And then probably my pick of the lot for just home party game nonsense. the game of things. It's like most of those games you've heard of before, except you get some funny topics, and instead of guessing the card, you're guessing the players, so it's a bit of a twist. So that's it for me. I've got to head off now because Bored at Home are calling for me at our next charity event this evening, at the coffee shop. So I'm going to go and teach some new games like Coffee Roaster. Alright, that's not entirely new, but it's a coffee shop. You got to have a coffee game. But I'm also going to start teaching the expansion to Potion Explosion and the expansion to Sheriff of Nottingham while I'm there. So, should be a good laugh. Anyway, that's it from me. I'll see you on the next Broken Meeple show, and regardless of whether you're going to use it for the classroom or for the home, all these three are still only games. So, see you next time, guys. Have fun.